Oh, hello, it is I, your boy Gomi, and we are back to talk about everybody's favorite. The UFC welterweight division is back at it again. Yes. Leon Edwards is the newly crowned UFC welterweight champion. He's defended his title. He is effectively the de facto welterweight king. There's no contention. There's no if this happened, anything like that. He decisively defeated Kamaru Usman, ending the trilogy. The thing about Usman, say what you will about his reign, he brought clarity to the division. He simply did. We knew exactly what was going to happen. We knew the goal. We knew the target. We knew who was next. A lot of that got muddied, and we're already feeling the effects of that on his exit from being the welterweight champion of the world. But yes, I digress. Leon Edwards defeated Kamaru Usman. Now here's the main problem, main point of contention. Who should get the next title shot? Well, we're going by what the big boss man Dana White says, and also the matchmakers like Hunter Campbell, Sean Shelby. It's been decided. Colby Chaos Covington is getting the next title shot. What do I think of that? I think it's stupid. I think that is the stupidest thing. I think that is one of the most undeserved title shots of all time. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't know why this is the case. I don't know why they're doing this. But yes. Colby Covington gets that title shot. I don't like this. I don't agree with this. Why don't I agree with this? Because for many multitude of reasons. But the first and main reason lies within the problem of Colby Covington himself. What has Colby done to earn a title shot? When was Colby's last fight? Colby's last fight was going to be in March 5th, 2022. Over a year ago from UFC 286. Yet, he's the backup fighter, so he now gets a title shot. He made the weight, so of course, he got the title shot, right? That's just so stupid to me. That makes no sense. That's idiotic. I don't get it. There's no reason Colby Covington should get a title shot after defeating a ranked, I believe 9 at the time, Jorge Masvidal, and not fighting for a year. In fact, let's look at his last 5 fights. Robbie Lawler back in 2019 for the interim title. No, sorry, interim title was against Dos Anjos. 2019, he fought Robbie Lawler. Okay, cool. Then he fought Usman at the end of that year. God, 2019, 4 years ago. 4 years ago, he got his first title shot. He lost. Waited almost a year, fought the corpse of Woodley. But you know what? Fine, cool. He got 1 win, back in the title contention because it was a really close fight despite him getting finished. Whatever. Fought Usman again. He lost again. All right, cool. Sits out not a year, but no, he sits out. He doesn't really sit out. He comes back and he fights Masvidal. Then he sits out a year. Doesn't say anything, doesn't tweet, doesn't do anything. Boom. You now get the title shot because you made the weight, Colby. Good job. Thank you so much. You saved the card that was not in jeopardy at all. Yeah, no, they're just pushing that agenda because Colby talks a lot of Shizer, because Colby has a big mouth, because Colby's able to. But honestly, he is a draw. I'm gonna be honest with you, he is a draw. But what happened to meritocracy? Like, Colby himself said it's not a sport, it's a business. Bull Shizer, we're trying to legitimize it as a sport. The UFC has been trying to do that for so long, but they keep getting caught in the interwoven web of, is it a sport or is it an entertainment business? You don't know. You never know. Definitively, Colby Covington has not earned that title shot. That is bullshit. I will die on the hill. I don't care. Now, who has earned that title shot? There are 2 people who come to mind who I feel should definitively get that title shot. One under certain circumstances. Then there's one who I feel has a pretty good case, but certain circumstances prohibit them from getting it. First and foremost, remember the name Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad deserves that welterweight title shot, because we look at Colby Covington, and since his last title shot, he's fought one guy who was ranked 9. Colby Covington has one win over someone in the top 15, and that's Masvidal. Bilal Muhammad is on an 8-fight unbeaten streak. Why do I say 8-fight unbeaten streak? Because we have that fight with the current champion that ended in a no contest. So his last, not even a loss, like he fought against the champion. They never got to finish it. They have unfinished business. Meanwhile, besides that, since that fight, he's been a top 15 ranked contender, undefeated by the way, a top 15 ranked contender, a top 15 ranked contender, and then an old legend. That's a 4-fight win streak. Hell, you next Edwards fight, it actually now grows to a 8-fight win streak. Millender, Sato, not really good. Good, I don't even remember his first name. Lyman Good, and then Diego Lima. That's not anything crazy, but it's still a 4-fight win streak. That should get you some. He then fought the champion, and since then he went on against 4. Well, Damian Maia's an okay win, but these 3 are good wins. That gets you a title shot. He fought 3 ranked contenders back to back, knocked out one of them. That's a title shot. Now you're gonna counteract with, but Bilal Muhammad's boring. Yeah, but who cares? He's winning. If he's boring and he's not winning, cool. In fact, no, if he's boring and he's not winning dominantly, cool. But he's winning dominantly. All of these were dominant wins, and the Brady fight was not boring. It was actually a pretty damn exciting fight. He knocked him out standing. I don't get it. All right, cool. Fine. You absolutely won't give it to Bilal, and you're going to feed him to Shavkat. You're going to give him to freaking Shavkat Rakhmonov. Cool. Fine. Then it should still not be Colby Covington. Then it should be Burns if he beats Masvidal. But, is Burns going to beat Masvidal? Are you really going to ask me that? I'm sorry. I'm not a guy who believes in really stacked odds. I don't believe in like minus 500 or anything betting favorites. I never believe in that under certain circumstances. That case is Masvidal. I see no way he's going to beat Burns. I mean, if he does, shoot in my mouth, I'll eat my words, but no. Burns himself has been very active. He's been proven to be the BMF. This man just fought in January and now he's fighting in April. Dana White dismisses that fight, says, nope, it's not a number 1 contender fight. Hell no. It's a number 1 contender fight for Burns. Masvidal does not deserve it, but we'll talk about that shortly. But no, Burns should be getting that title shot if he gets past Masvidal because he beat Neil Magny. He was ranked, 3? And he took on that fight against 12. So you got to give him something for that because nobody else was fighting in welterweight. He had a potential fight a year against Khamzat Chimaev. Yeah, he lost, but again, he was ranked 3 or 4, and he was fighting goddamn rank 11. He took that fight, and then he beat Thompson. He beat Wonderboy. Not an exciting fight. I was really upset with that fight, but I've forgiven him since his last 2 fights. Why is Burns not getting a title shot, man? Even then, you look at that, he lost against Usman. Cool. He beat Woodley. He beat Maia. He beat Nelson. Still, that's good enough by meritocracy standards. Merit should mean something in the UFC. And then lastly, Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev honestly should have gotten the title shot after the Burns fight, but they wanted to give him one more, I understand. And they originally gave him Diaz. Now, the reason why I kind of don't want to give it to Khamzat is because, again, he's coming off a win over Kevin Holland, who Kevin Holland's pretty decent, but he's not a ranked guy. So, I mean, you earn a title shot more by beating Jorge Masvidal, I'll be honest with you. But he did beat Burns, and that was an amazing fight that absolutely showed he belongs at the top. But he missed weight. Now, granted, it's best he missed weight because he was about to fight Diaz, and nobody wants to see that. We all preferred Holland. I'm sorry. Khamzat Chimaev, people say he jeopardized the card. Khamzat Chimaev saved the card. He really did. Because that would have been a horrible, horrible card if we had Li Jiliang versus Tony Ferguson. And Nate Diaz versus Khamzat Chimaev. Get that out of here. No. Those guys deserve a title shot. That's ridiculous that Colby Covington can sit out for a year and just get a title shot. But what do we do with them now? Well, honestly, it should be Bilal Muhammad. He should fight Leon Edwards. Shavkat Rakhmonov should fight Colby Covington. And then Khamzat can move up to middleweight. I don't know what he's doing. If Khamzat's not moving up to middleweight, then he should fight Kamaru Usman if Usman's going to continue fighting. I thought he would have retired, to be honest with you, but he elected to continue. So there you go. Then that should be the matchup. Burns, he could honestly fight after Masvidal. He could fight Edwards, or he could fight Masvidal and wait a little bit till whoever fights Edwards next, and then Burns could come in. Whatever the case is. Now, praise be to Leon for telling Colby to go suck it. Amazing. Earning fans with that. That's a great thing. He should honestly tell Colby to go piss off. But he's not perfect, and he's not 100% at fault, and he still has Usman's arm in this picture. But he's also, like he said correctly, he wants the winner of Burns versus Masvidal. If Burns wins, yes, that makes sense. If Burns loses, that's Masvidal. Masvidal does not deserve that title shot at all. But Leon wants that fight. So I'm a little bit fine. I feel better if Masvidal wins and gets that shot, because one, he'll be a much better person than Colby is being, which would be a Masvidal, but he'll have beaten Burns, who's a guy I think is deserving of it. But the main thing is Edwards wants it. The champ should get a say in who he wants, as long as it makes sense. Like, if Masvidal is coming off a win over Burns, then yeah, okay, he could get the title shot if Leon demands it. But, like, for example, if, like, Michelle Pereira has no wins or anything, and Leon says, I want Michelle Pereira, that's stupid. That's idiotic. Now, why should the champ get a say in who he fights? You're thinking that's stupid, it's idiotic. No, it should be Colby. No, Usman did the same thing when he chose to fight Masvidal a second time. Masvidal coming off a loss, he said, no, I choose Masvidal. I want that payday. That's fine. We had no problems with that. Now let's harken back to 2000 and I believe 16. Yep, 2016. The newly minted UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael the Count Bisping. He had just knocked out Luke Rockhold. His first title defense was against Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson was on a one fight win streak against Hector Lombard. Dan Henderson, I believe, was ranked 13, for example. He was either like anywhere between 13 and 9. He got a title shot. Michael Bisping, he chose that. He wanted vengeance for getting knocked out by Dan Henderson many years prior, back in 2009. But yes, he decided that he wanted to fight Dan Henderson. They gave that fight. Nobody complained. I didn't complain. So Leon wants to choose Masvidal. If he has a one fight win streak against a guy like Burns, give it to him. That's okay. Now, counterpoints against that. I've seen also people say Colby Covington should get the title shot and it shouldn't be Leon, and Leon Edwards shouldn't matter, whatever, because Leon Edwards was inactive. Leon Edwards had a year layoff, came off one win against an unranked contender in the forms of Nate Diaz. Yeah, he got a title shot. Colby's ducking fights. He's ducking fights. Both Bilal Muhammad and Khamzat Chimaev have said that he was supposed to fight them on UFC London, and Dana White was talking about Colby Covington versus Khamzat Chimaev on ABC. There was a talked about. That means some kind of contracts have been put on the table, and I know damn well Bilal Muhammad didn't turn that down, and I know damn well Khamzat Chimaev didn't turn that down. So it had to be Colby or the UFC. Now you're gonna say, but Edwards ducked, whatever. Edwards didn't duck Shizer, because let me show you this. You see this? Colby Covington sat up for a year and ducked fights, and now he's getting a title shot. Leon Edwards did the same thing, sat up for a year, but he didn't duck fights. He tried to duck one fight. He didn't even try to duck. He just said he was the ranked number 3 guy, and they offered him Khamzat Chimaev, who was unranked at the time. And he said, no, that makes no sense. Which, to be fair, it's kind of fine. Like, you could tell Dustin Poirier, hey, Dustin, you want to fight Paddy Pimblett? Dustin's gonna be like, no, F you. Or he's like, hey, Dustin, you want to fight Drew Dober, who's ranked 14? No, it doesn't make sense. I'm fine with him saying no to that, to be perfectly honest with you. Leon Edwards is ranked 3, and they're asking him to fight an unranked guy who honestly seemed like he had the perfect style to beat him. They just wanted to get him out of there. Simple as that. He said no, so they stripped him from the rankings. But then here's the thing. He then said yes. He said, all right, fine, screw it. Yes, let's do it. He didn't say yes just once, though. He said yes 1, 2, 3 times. That's there. That's there. He tried 3 separate occasions to fight Khamzat Chimaev. And then they said, you know what? He finally couldn't do it. Khamzat had COVID. All right. They gave him Bilal Muhammad, who he said yes to. Bilal Muhammad's even a worse fight for Leon Edwards at the time, because Bilal Muhammad had no hype behind him. He had a 4-fight win streak that was not really big names, and I think he was ranked 15 or 14 at the best. There was nothing to gain for Leon Edwards, but he still took the fight. And in no contest, unfortunately, which sucks. Then he had another canceled bout against Diaz. Then he fought Diaz, and he won. And then he got a title shot off the Diaz win. And people are saying, oh, he sat out for a year and then got a title shot. That doesn't make sense. That he got a title shot off Diaz. Well, then you forgot. Y'all seem to forgot another canceled bout against Masvidal, because Masvidal had a rib injury. He had an egregious rib injury that allowed him to fight 3 months later against Colby Covington. You really think he had a rib injury, or you think they were gonna say nix the Leon Edwards fight and let's get that Colby money? Because that was a pay-per-view. That headlined a pay-per-view, 272. Yeah, no. Leon Edwards does not duck. He's ducked once and then it turned his back on and said, okay, cool. Colby Covington, it's not the same. It's not the same with Colby Covington. And he's getting a title shot. It's ridiculous. That's a problem with the UFC welterweight division. It all stems from 2 guys, really. Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington. The biggest draws in the division are the biggest problems that are slowing this division down, because it has good talent. Now then, my last and final point is, if we're going to forgo meritocracy and people who earn it, Colby is not the guy, because he is not the draw that you think he is. His fight against Jorge Masvidal, his long-awaited grudge match, was not even the most high-selling pay-per-view of the year. I don't believe it was in the top 3. The high-selling was Olivier versus Justin Gaethje. Now, if we're going to forego meritocracy and we're going to go for whoever just earns the UFC the most money, then this is what we have to do. We're going to have a little bite of time match. Basically, what we're going to do Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad. So meritocracy will still be a factor. It's just a tune-up fight, because to be honest, Leon Edwards wins that fight. But what we do is we either put in UK in the O2 arena. So no matter what, Leon Edwards is a star. You will sell out in London. Or we prey upon Bilal Muhammad's fan base, which he does have. He does have a pretty solid fan base. You just would have to do it in either Abu Dhabi or you do in Chicago, Illinois. That's where Bilal Muhammad's from. Either of those 2 locations, guarantee you're going to get Bilal Muhammad fans. They exist. I've seen them. I think Leon Edwards beats Bilal Muhammad. He gets another title defense. Now, what you set up Leon Edwards as this champion with multiple title defenses. The welterweight champion. Boom, headshot dead. Then, coming later this year, Conor McGregor is going to be fighting Michael Chandler at what we believe is going to be contested at welterweight. Dana White said lightweight. Some people say welterweight. They should do it at welterweight. Conor McGregor on his roids is too big. So there you go. I don't think Conor McGregor gets by Michael Chandler, to be perfectly honest with you. But say he does. We were going to pray he does somehow. You give him that undeserved welterweight title shot. Keep in mind, we're foregoing meritocracy and we're just looking for whoever gets you the most money. You give Conor McGregor that title shot against Leon Edwards, because now Leon Edwards is this big, scary, massive welterweight with multiple title defenses. Conor McGregor is going to try and go for triple champ status against him. London against Ireland. basically what you could do now is they try to get Wembley Stadium. You can now get Wembley Stadium, and you've now set up that perfect super fight between Conor McGregor and Leon Edwards, and that is going to be getting you your most money. That right there is going to be either the #1 or #2 highest selling pay-per-view of all time. If we're gonna really do this and do this whole UFC is a entertainment business, that is the thing that will get the UFC the most money. This has been your boy Gomi. Let me know what you think of the welterweight division. Let me know how you think the division proceed, and bye-bye.